This is James for Chess Goals. I am recording some additional content to complement the London system course, specifically what might happen around move 8 if your opponent with the black pieces does not play into the main trap covered by the course. A bit about myself: I've been playing the London system for 2 years. It is my main choice with the white pieces, and I have had this exact position you see on the board many times in my own games. So I'd like to share with you some of my own analyses to help improve your results from this position. So black has we have just castled, and black's main move is rook e8, covered in the course. We will cover an alternative on move 7 towards the end of the video, which really is black's best move in the position, but it's quite rare. So they have played rook e8, we'll play knight c3, just like in the course. And for those of you who've purchased the course, you'll know the main line is e5 and d takes, but we won't go through all of that today. You've got to purchase the course for all of Matt and Jesse's fantastic analyses. But often your opponents, especially when they get stronger, will not play e5. They'll realize just by simple calculation that it's a blunder, and they'll play something else. So that's what we're going to cover today. The main alternative, the best alternative, is c6, which is taking control of these two squares away from our knight. And black is going to play a slower game, often with queen c7, preparing e5. Maybe some other moves first, but they're not going to play. They're still going to play for e5, but they're not going to play e5 right away. So c6, very good waiting move. I'm recommending e4, taking space in the center. And what we're trying to achieve here is just a lot of control. So we control all these middle squares, making it difficult for black to move forward. We'll probably continue with a move like a4 if allowed, taking more space. And we're just keeping black very, very cramped. Queen c7. Black is preparing e5. Black needs to achieve e5 to really have any chance of fighting for equality. And before they can do so, we will continue with e5 ourselves. We've prepared it, it works, our bishop is nicely lined up against their queen, so why not? It's a thematic move in the position. Now, black should respond with knight h5 with a tempo on our undefended bishop. All other moves are worse, and black is significantly worse, so knight h5 is the critical move. We can throw in this capture, so black can take our bishop, we would take their queen, obviously good for us. This forces black to recapture with the pawn, and then we drop back. So quite a bit has changed. We still have more space in the middle. The d6 pawn is pinned to the queen, and the knight on h5 is actually quite misplaced. Nothing else changing. We'd like to play moves like rook e1, bishop f1, a4, and just continue to squeeze black. You'll notice there isn't really a good move for the knight on d7, which means there really isn't a good move for the bishop on c8. So it doesn't look like white has much, but it's very difficult for black to play this position. Black should return the bishop, and we'll play a4, taking more space. From here, actually just a little detail. The reason we play a4 first is black might wish to continue with knight b6 to free up the light square bishop, but now knight b6 we can just meet with a5, forcing the knight backwards, keeping black very cramped. We'd like to continue with moves like a5, rook fe1, bishop e1, maybe queen d2. It's just a really comfortable position for white. Eventually we'll probably want to move one of our knights, maybe play c4 as well. But a nice +1 pawn advantage for white, even against black's best line. Another option for black is 8c5, striking out in the middle. So they've put the rook on e8. They've realized e5 doesn't work, so they break with c5. I'm actually recommending we push past and take space with d5. This really cramps black. They can't push e5 still, and if allowed, we'll continue with moves like e4, rook e1, bishop f1, just having a tremendous amount of space, and it's going to be very difficult for black to activate their pieces. So black really should try and play on the queen side in a Benoni-like manner. So a6 is the best move in the position, and we can play a4, just really taking control of the b5 square. And black is not easily going to be able to play b5. They can slowly organize it, but whenever they play it, we'll play a takes b, and they're going to end up with an isolated pawn that we can target, which gives us something to play against later. So the main move is b6, just trying to develop that light square bishop. We can continue with e4, taking more space, bishop b7, and now rook e1, just reinforcing our pawn, preparing bishop f1. From here, some simple plans are queen d2 and possibly trading off the powerful dark square bishop. We could also look to put a rook on the b file and break with b4, opening up that part of the board. But black generally struggling here. Again, white about 1 pawn advantage, very comfortable position to play. If you're familiar with the Benoni and the plans in the Benoni, they will put you in good stead for these sort of positions. And the last move, 8 alternative that we will cover, is 8 knight h5. I faced this over the board recently in a rapid game, and the idea is just to force through e5 very, very quickly. The knight unveiling an attack on our bishop also means that the dark square bishop for black is reinforcing the move e5, so black actually will achieve e5 in this variation, but as we'll see, it doesn't really work out for them. So bishop h2 dropping back, and black continues with e5. Having said a, they must continue with b. You want to play pawn takes here, very important. Ultimately, we would like to trade out the central pawns to make our dark square bishop more powerful, try and get to that c7 pawn. But first we have to start by capturing on the e file. They should play knight takes, liberating their pieces. And now we play knight takes, and this is why this variation is not particularly strong for black. We've just taken back their piece. We're presently a piece up. They need to recapture. But that knight on h5 is hanging, so bishop takes e5 is best, but we can take on h5. They can take on h2 with check. We'll have to play king h2, but eventually they're going to have to take on h5, and we'll recapture with our queen, at which point we're not only a pawn up, but they have a very weak king, so very big advantage for white in this line as well. So as you can see, black doesn't have a lot of great alternatives. It's a pretty good set of variations for white. It's why it's very high scoring in the database. So how should black be playing? Well, if we go all the way back to move 7, instead of rook e8, black can actually play queen e8, and then all the tactics don't work because there is no removing the defender motif, because the queen itself is the defender. So we should continue with bishop h2. Black is going to play e5, so it just makes sense to get our bishop out of the way. Black plays e5, and now we play c4. Black is taking space in the center. We need to take space in the center ourselves. The main move for black here is queen e7. The queen actually is kind of in the way on the back rank. Black would now like to play a move like Rook E8, continue developing their pieces. We put our knight on C3 where it's very active. And Black should at this point play C6, again stopping our knight from coming forward, where it can be very annoying. And there have been some famous games where Black does not play C6 and loses very quickly. I will just note, White can play, so Black can play E4 after knight C3, they can continue with E4, but this is generally a mistake. After the knight comes to D2, we're going to have a lot of pressure against that pawn. They can reinforce with Rook E8, and we'll continue with B4. Your main strategic goal in a variation like this is to play C5 and completely undermine Black's pawns, and then attack with moves like knight B5, where there are going to be weaknesses combining with your dark square bishop. You're just trying to win a pawn, basically. And I would just note that knight B5, knight takes C7 does fork the rooks, so there are definitely some threats. Knight F8 is the main move, unveiling the bishop and getting the knight out of the way. But we can just continue with C5, threatening to take on D6, where Black will have a weak pawn. So D5, preventing that. This also indicates why knight F8 was a good move. The queen now defends C7. Queen B3, we have more pressure on the D5 square. Bishop E6 defending, and now B5. And as you can see, we are attacking on the queen side. Black is meant to be attacking on the king side. Our attack is about to hit. Black's attack has not even started, so White has a very significant advantage in this position. So that's generally why all the way back here, Black should not play the move E4. It does gain a tempo, it does force the knight to move, but in the long run, it really helps White and doesn't really help Black. So that's why they should play C6 on move 10. We continue with Rook C1. We want to attack on the queen side, and we also want to continue improving our pieces. Well, this move does both. We've got pressure building down the C file, and now our rook is not underneath the line of sight of their bishop, which means there aren't tactics down that diagonal that we need to worry about in the future. Rook E8, improving the rook. Black is trying to play in the centre as well. Black realises they cannot start a kingside assault in this position, so they're going to try and match us in the centre. And now C5. This is a really, really nice move. We're actually undermining control, undermining the defenders of the E5 pawn. I've actually played this move in 2 games and won both. It's a really, really nice motif I want you to remember. Because, for example, if D takes C5, we don't take back on C5, we actually take back on E5, where Black cannot take the pawn, knight takes E5, knight takes C5, and the queen can't take back the knight because it's defended by the bishop. We will just be up a piece. So the main move that gets played here is knight D5, putting another attacker on the E5 pawn, allowing us to win a pawn on D5, but Black will be winning a pawn on E5. So material will balance out. They take the pawn back, material is even, and we need to play one very precise move here to have a big advantage. And that move is actually B3, clearing the diagonal so that there is no target for the dark square bishop to face off against. And you'll notice now that the C5 pawn is hanging. We have moves like bishop B5 in the air as well. So things are looking really good for White. All of our pieces are standing well. Black cannot reinforce C5 with a move like B6 because the rook is hanging in the corner. So we actually have a lot of pressure on Black's position, thanks to our 2 bishops and having fully completed our development, whereas black is still lagging a little bit behind in development with 2 undeveloped pieces on the back rank. Black normally continues with knight takes f3 check, and we take back with the bishop. And I'll leave you with this position to finish the video, but this is a fantastic position for white. The c5 pawn is hanging. The bishop cannot move because the b7 pawn would be hanging. Black cannot play b6 because the rook would be hanging. They can't play rook b8 to organize b6 because our bishop on h2 will take. So it really looks like black is going to just start coughing up material, potentially significant material. And even if we can't win material on the next move, we can look forward to a move like rook f d1, just continuing to grow our advantage. So I hope all of this content is helpful to you. We're covering all the ways that white should proceed if black does not fall into the knight c3 e5 trap, but as you can see in all of the main played variations, white still retains some sort of advantage, often a significant advantage. So this has been James for ChessGoals. Follow the YouTube channel for more helpful content like this. Thank you.